13 years after launch, I found a never-before-seen Call of Duty map in the ancient game files. A level that was supposed to replace another map in its entirety, but there's more to it than that. As a kid, I always wondered what Easter eggs or bonus areas were hiding beyond the barriers of the map. Was it a teddy bear or maybe a naked lady? I was 13, give me a break. And when I played the mission Karma from the Black Ops 2 campaign, that interest grew, as Karma and the multiplayer map Plaza are both set in the same city of Colossus. But if I somehow got down there during the campaign mission, could I find Plaza? Would it actually exist? How about vice versa, getting up there when in multiplayer down below? Or were the devs using some sneaky tricks to make my whole childhood a lie? Today, we answer that while also solving the mystery of Promenade, the FPS map never before seen or played until today, because we're gonna bring it back to life. It was cut in the alpha stage of the game due to technical difficulties stopping it in its tracks. So what the flip is the city of Colossus hiding? Would Promenade have been a good map?
Hey, I'm gonna need that. Where'd you get that?
And will I go a whole video without making a your mom joke? Let's find out. This guy's gonna be in trouble later. What the hell is that? Gamerman Adam here, game dev and decent guy. If the 13-year-old me knew that I'd be doing this, solving Call of Duty's mysteries many years later, he'd probably be proud. Plaza, a classic BO2 map, one of the only 2 maps set during the night. Most people enjoyed it and it was close to medium range gunfights and of course, a nightclub playing Skrillex. Nostalgic as ever. I think it's always cool seeing a multiplayer map take place in somewhere that was featured in the campaign. The boundaries are in different places, you get to go into areas you otherwise couldn't in the online map. And BO2 does that 8 times in the storyline, with these being the maps featured in the campaign. Some people love to say, oh, the devs are just being lazy, they couldn't create a new area. But do you not feel the immersion when you're running through and you're like, hey, I know this place. I friggin' know this place. The campaign and the multiplayer, they can feel a little more cohesive that way. Does it help save time? Yes, but they still balance and tune it for multiplayer after moving it from the campaign. It's not just a copy and paste, because even the maps that aren't Control-C, Control-V from the campaign are also just reused assets a lot of the time from the campaign. Carrier from the same game is actually not featured in the campaign, but it's just put on a new boat and then drag and drop some of the assets from the campaign mission Odysseus. Plaza is a special case though, because instead of walking through the map directly in the campaign, like Cargo for example, it's in a separate area of the city, and I always remember trying to see if I could spot it while playing the story. And what makes this city even more interesting to explore is that it took me 10 years and 3 playthroughs to realize Colossus is not even an island. It's some sort of futuristic yacht resort for the wealthy to stay, spend, and slob away their problems, you know, hence the fancy cars, the nightclubs, the expensive stores like Basically, it's a cruise ship from the future, and a lot of people who played this game, played this map, never knew that it was actually moving the whole time. Or was it? As a game dev, I'm also kind of a
hacker man. He's the most powerful hacker of all time.
So I use that to my advantage to figure out what lies beyond the walls of Colossus, starting in the campaign. We drop into the Karma mission in the Indian Ocean with the goal of infiltrating the area and rescuing Chloe Lynch, a cybersecurity expert, as DeFalco, a bad guy, is also trying to extract her. Unluckily for her, we are here to explore, and that is all. R.I.P. Chloe. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Plaza is down there? I think it's time we go explore. And here we are, the city of Colossus. I'll just keep backing up and see how big this thing is. We're about to go down and see if we can find Plaza, but what I'm realizing right away is that the multiplayer map, I don't remember there being 3 of these towers or these areas. Like, the layout isn't the same. We're about to take this elevator all the way down. Look at this cool trick. The elevator comes down here, right? So if you face this way and it goes like this, you see in here and you're like, damn, this building is huge. And then it keeps going down. But what's it actually looking like? That is crazy. It looks like a big building and it's actually just like big painting. As we get farther down, I think some of our immersion will start to get ruined. On the left here, I'm seeing not the most detailed suites, mannequins. Look at this mix of characters we have here. We got some dancing people in the water, and if you look closely, there's actually something spooky going on here. Jump scare. So they have a few of these 2D animations, so like they don't take up as much space as 3D models like this lady, and then they just go around in a circle. So yes, very cool to see what's going on down here, but we're all thinking like, this is not Plaza. We gotta keep searching. If you remember, Plaza is on the edge of the water, basically. It has a beach on the edge of it. Over at the second tower, there's not much going on here. Plaza is nowhere to be seen either. Even though it's a little bit different, it's still not Plaza. I did find some interesting areas and some dev secrets that they never wanted us to see. Like, this woman is scary. Let's just say it how it is. But one thing I could not see so far was Plaza, even though it would make perfect sense that it could just be around one of these corners. Hope was not lost, because as we progressed through the mission, I realized that we were going through the building lower and lower. And as we got lower, more things started to spawn in and more details started to spawn in on the ground. And maybe Plaza would appear next, all thanks to sub-levels. Time for a game dev breakdown. Devs use a lot of tricks to optimize their games. Programmers have their own tricks, level designers, and so do artists. And they need to do their best so that when they put it together, it doesn't run like your Uncle John running a marathon after Thanksgiving dinner. It ain't happening. Level designers use sub-levels, a technique mostly used in single-player games that allows areas to be loaded in and unloaded at the same time. Think of Skyrim, a giant, massive game that runs well for its size. When you go into a dungeon, there's a load screen for a reason. The landscape is loading in all the props, the enemies that are supposed to come to life while the outside disappears. Would it really make sense having the entire campaign mission up there on the same map? Probably not. They still make it look like the maps could both be in existence together at the same time, but you just can't tell that they're not, unless you do some snooping around. As we were going down the elevator or watching cutscenes, the tower above had despawned and the new area we just landed at spawned in. Boom, sub-level transition. Because as you can see, this was not here before. It's a whole different version of the area because of that. But you can't use load screens in a multiplayer online game. So what do games like Battlefield do to avoid a giant map completely frying your Xbox 360? They came up with culling. Sounds a bit sus, but it's not at all. I think you're just weird in the head. Culling is selective rendering depending on how close you are to an asset, or if you're even looking at it at all. When you turn around in an FPS game, a lot of the time, the stuff behind you just disappears, and things very far away in the distance are replaced with lower poly, less detailed versions of that same model. Check out this aircraft. Look at him. I caught him transitioning. I caught him. The closer I am, the more expensive it is. Just like women. I don't know. I don't actually talk to women. I just, you know. Oh my God, she's actually just a ghost. You'd think because she's yellow out here, she's a human, but she's actually just a ghost. That may have been an inappropriate place to be for. I apologize. After witnessing a murder on the dance floor, I had post-slaughter clarity. I saw something that was repurposed from somewhere. It hit me. The floor of the nightclub. I'd seen that geometry somewhere before. That's when I made the connection to the ancient photo. Promenade. It was supposed to be a map that encased Club Solar. The DJ booth, the stage, the club, it was all starting to make sense. Promenade, a paved public walk, typically one along a waterfront at a resort. It couldn't be more clear. Plaza was the map Promenade was supposed to replace. I needed to visit Plaza to find out more, because what even is Plaza if it's not part of the same map? And now we're onto the multiplayer map with the lights in the air, the fireworks blowing up, the Colossus Resort. There are only 2 towers. The third one did disappear. So I don't know if this is like, maybe this is the night after. Wait, no, they wouldn't be doing fireworks or partying after all those people just died, right? These are a lot farther away, and there's actually water in between them, which there wasn't inside the Luna nightclub, because I want to know, did these maps connect in any way? This all looks familiar, right? All the art direction, everything, all the props, but I couldn't find this kind of location. We did find one of these, but it was in a different room. I think we are coming to the conclusion that they are not connected as levels. None of this map even appears at all inside the campaign, not even this building. And to answer our question, is there a campaign mission going on up here? There is not. Is there any collision out here? Did they think anyone would get out here? No collision. This is what they mean when they say don't meet your heroes, but like our heroes are just the outside of maps we never knew about. It's clear they decided to have 2 entirely separate levels that the player loads into for different instances. The devs were running into issues trying to make Promenade work as a multiplayer map while also using the exact same room and area for their scripted campaign sequences. Like that exact mission we played through earlier. That was probably the area that Promenade was supposed to be. That is when Plaza was born, a solution of taking everything from inside and all the assets and moving them outside to a fully alternate map. Less complicated for them, but more complicated for me to figure out what the hell going on in this video, goddamn. I'm like the internet historian, dude. But for Call of Duty, that's kind of sad actually, ain't it? One mystery was now solved. What was Promenade? But I still wanted to know what the map would actually feel like in 3D. So I got to work. I think also we just keep it simple and do like,
We do a kiss. Let's do a kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
that sounds more like an insult, but okay. Plaza turned out to be kind of like Carrier, the map I mentioned. You think you're fighting in the same area from the campaign with full immersion, but really the assets are copy and pasted into a brand new level. Almost every Call of Duty does this in their games, even Halo, remember Spire or The Pit, Gears of War, Destiny, Titanfall, and so on. Making a map is not just decorating, you know, optimizing sight lines, hand placing cover, tuning the spawns, placing navigation meshes for the AI, doing the lighting. That shit takes forever. I hated that part. That was the worst. And 20 more things after that. So saving time on the layout can give devs a little more time to put towards important things like spawns. Those are pretty important. So if it saves time and leads to player immersion, why are we seeing it less than ever these days? They used to do it all the time, especially right now where a lot of companies are trying to cut corners. Well, our player expectations are at an all-time high, at no fault to ourselves though, because you know what, this year has been pretty decent for games, but in the last few years, there's been a lot of over-promising and under-delivering. Skate's not even a terrible example of it, but is Skate bad? No. Is Skate a full game? No. The average gamer might just be smarter than these companies think. They just don't want no more random BS, and they're not scared to call it out, especially when games are now $100. Secondly, missions are created a lot more cinematic these days. They're built for that one single experience, which makes them harder to just paste into a multiplayer map. And lastly, unfortunately, we are in the era of live service games. It makes a lot more sense for a company to release less maps on launch, even if they could have repurposed some areas, but instead put that time and effort into Season 2 is just around the corner. We got to make new maps and new assets. They're forcing themselves to make brand new assets and maps every update. In the Unreal Engine we went to see if we could get a loose grasp of what Promenade would actually be like. All we had was a pixelated photo, but for a gamer man, that was enough. The interior was the only guidance we really had, so we kept it simple with gray boxing. But we also kept in mind something the devs could never do during development. Include the Promenade itself. If this video has been interesting, consider subscribing because I do have a potential series of remaking other hidden maps you didn't know existed from other games. I've seen them with my own eyes. I just need a reason to create them, and you know we'd make them a lot better. And just like a lot of people that watch the videos aren't actually subscribed, you know, so it is what it is. In the end, this is what we had, bringing Promenade, a Black Ops 2 map that never saw the day of light, to life. A DJ booth as the center of the map. Players would fight for cover along the side of the stage, amongst the disco lights, and occasionally flank the enemy by taking a stroll along the what? That's right, the motherfucking Promenade. Goddamn right, boy, we put that in there. God, a nightclub on the water never felt so good. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. I just wanted to let you know that I did open up channel memberships recently. I feel even weird mentioning it, obviously, but I make these videos because I enjoy it, and I want to do more of it because I love it. They are just some silly videos, and I know that. I just want to be able to create some more silly videos as long as time and money allows for it. And as always, tell your mom I said hi. You understand me, ladies? Do any of you have collision? We can collide back here on my yacht if you know what I'm saying.